Yeah, I think I was a bit surprised to see Chris Murray was staying. I didn't know that there was an option in his contract that we could trigger for another year. Um, I think it's somebody that I know he divides fan opinion. I know a lot of fans think he could be an excellent defensive midfielder for us. But it's funny because Nigel didn't seem to fancy him at all, then started to play him towards the end of the season and was full of praise for him as to the way that he played and said that he's been unlucky and that if we'd been playing with a more orthodox 4-4-2, maybe he would have got in. So I think yeah, I was a bit surprised to see he was staying on for another year. Um, I also feel that I would be sorry for him if he was stuck on the bench because I think it's a player that deserves to play a lot more games than he has been. And if there was an opportunity to move to another club, certainly in our league, but maybe in an ambitious club in the league below where he would be guaranteed to play more games, I think might be better for his career. Um, I still firmly believe that Josh Hawkes may well be out the door before August. It's a love affair gone wrong. That there's a player who just seems extremely unhappy, a manager who has been critical of him in post-match interviews about his lack of defensive efforts, shall we say. Um, so I would not at all be surprised if he left for another club. And I think I've said to you before, I think he will do a good job for another club if as long as he's not expected to be a workhorse and track back. If he's given a purely attacking role, then I think he'll do fine. In terms of the others, I mean, it's I don't know. We might have kept one of the centre halves, but presumably there are irons in the fire there about getting some other options in. Um, when you are one thing I do agree with you and Lewis on was when we were talking about us where we finished as 16th in League Two, where it says a lot about where the state of the club is. So if we're thinking about should we have retained more players, well, the answer is probably not because we're way below where we would expect to be and where the ambitions of the club should be. Um, I think I would also moving on to Luke Norris. I personally I'm a fan. I hope that he does sign on because I think that he is a very good asset at this level. I think that he's an extremely good back to goal player, very useful away from home. You can imagine if you're defending a 1-0 lead and you've got somebody who can hold the ball up, get his teammates involved, win the odd free kick. I think that's a good player to have. I think he will score goals at this level, as he's shown when he's been fit. I really hope that he could be a big player for us next season. And then, I mean, the other one is Christian Dennis, which just it hasn't worked out at all for us. Um, I think that he's probably one of the highest paid players at the club. We don't know, but I'm sure that he will be. And I think it would be great to get him out of the door. But in his defence, he's got a family, he's got bills to pay. If he's under contract with Tranmere and nothing better comes along, then he stays here. But yeah, that's one player who I think it just hasn't worked for the club and it hasn't worked for the player. That's somebody who I think we would all be happy enough to see go out the door. It feels like the end of Kane Hemmings, to be honest. The same kind of vibe of a player that it just wasn't working out really.